Hi, and welcome to Backstage Pass. It's nice to see you.
So we have a question for you that is from one of our readers. Actually, this is from our Marriage Adventures Monday event that we did just a little bit ago. We didn't get to answer this question. When frustration first shows up between you two, what is the best first step to deal with it? You want to go first or you want me to?
I definitely want to go second.
Oh, he wants to avoid frustration.
Ladies before gentlemen.
Oh, you're such a gentleman. Okay. Well, I have two different answers. If I'm the one who's frustrated, so if I'm frustrated with something with Erv, usually the first thing I do is make myself wait to say anything and get some perspective on what's going on, because maybe I'm frustrated and it's not a big deal and I don't need to say anything and it's more my problem than his, or it's the situation. And so I think the first step is to take a moment, step back, and see what the bigger situation is. And if Erv is frustrated with me, the first thing that I try to do is make him laugh. Because sometimes he'll be upset about something and it's something serious, and I've got to again take a step back, listen, get the perspective. And if it's something where it maybe doesn't seem like as big a deal, then if I can use humor and make a joke out of it, then usually it doesn't become a big deal. How about you?
I think when I'm frustrated with Carrie, one of the things that helps is for me to stop just for a minute to figure out similarly whether this is something that it really isn't that big a deal. Sometimes I find myself getting irritated and I can't even put my finger on why. There's nothing that's happened that seems to rationally make sense for why I'm feeling the way I am. In that case, I usually try to get a little bit of distance, because just 5 or 10 minutes on my own allows me to calm down and to gain a more reasonable perspective. If I'm really frustrated over something in particular, what I need to do then is I need to address it quickly, so I try to find an opportunity to talk with her about it and try to get the situation reconciled as quickly as possible. So I still might take a minute or two to get away by myself before addressing her. And so in the question I hear, what should you and what do you do? Sometimes what I do is I try to address the situation before taking those few minutes just to calm down, and that usually is a recipe for us having a bigger argument and disagreement than was necessary. So when I take that time, it really matters. Mm-hmm. When she's frustrated with me, usually I either have to take action on something. There's something she wants me to do that I haven't. And it can help for me to stop and say, all right, here's a way to bless my wife and show love to her. Or I don't agree with her frustration, and again, then the best thing for me to do is to give some space and time, and then we'll work through it at a later time.
I think, so for both of us, there's taking a step back for a moment. Mm-hmm. It's real easy to get caught up in the moment when you're frustrated, and I think that's when you say and do things that you regret. And sometimes you can't take that minute, there's some kind of emergency or, situation that you've got to get into right there. But in general, I think if you can take that step back, and that also reminds you that the other person is important, and you have that moment to remember the bigger picture, the bigger picture of, us being a team, us having this valuable relationship, and not letting whatever that thing is that you're frustrated become bigger than your relationship. And I think it's too easy to let that happen.
Yeah, and for me, I wear my emotions outward pretty clearly, so frustration is kind of the seed to anger, at least in my emotional bank. And so if I start to feel frustrated, I'm on the verge of becoming angry, and I want to address that quickly. And there are some things that we've experienced that help reduce that likelihood for frustration to escalate. rather than being addressed. Carrie talked about humor and making me laugh, and when someone laughs, it's hard for frustration to give birth to anger. A second thing that I've found helpful is if I'll just touch Carrie, if I just take her hand or something, there's something about that physical contact that makes frustration moving to anger much more difficult. And so looking each other in the eyes, holding each other, laughing, those are ways to stop frustration from escalating. But dealing with it is also what we've talked about. Sometimes together working through it because you realize it's an important issue to discuss. And sometimes it's just our own emotional bank account maybe not being where it needs to be. And for me, just a few minutes away, kind of recollecting myself allows me to approach our relationship much more healthy.
Awesome.
So, thanks.
Thanks for joining us.